Welcome back, Martin. How are you, my friend?
I am really groovy, guy. Thanks for the invite back.
Oh, it's a pleasure, mate. I think people really enjoyed our last chat. It was the highest views actually I've had on the channel. So thank you. That's all down to you. So thank you for
That's awesome.
bringing that, for manifesting that. Um, I haven't spoken to you for a little bit. So what's been going on your end since we last spoke?
Oh my God, so much. So much. It's just, the summer's coming, isn't it? So there's a lot of, conventions planned later this
Hmm.
year. I'm looking at doing a meetup myself.
Whereabouts?
In possibly, I want to do it like so. I've hired like hotels, I've hired halls, all of this in the past, but it's again, it's the control. We don't like the control as a truth community. So I'm thinking somewhere outdoors, like the Castle Grounds in Cardiff. Everyone just meet up, no cost,
Yeah.
and just hang out with some tunes, and then we can all meet up and something along those lines. If not, I can get my local Rafa club for like 150 quid and hire a DJ, a Razda I know, who does the baddest tunes with lights and everything, and just throw a solstice party for the community. That's one of the long lines. I'm not looking to make any money. I'm looking to, get all of the people together because there's so many
Yeah.
people in the community that are pulling their hair out.
I did that. Look what happened.
There's actually I got a book, Natural Sciences, that shows you how to grow it back. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, one of my Lee Flat Earth British subscriber channel actually made this concoction, and he tried it on his head on YouTube, and it did get some hair growth going.
Did it really? It's bizarre, isn't it? Because I just assumed it was hereditary, but I've since found out that's not the case. I always thought that, but my brother, I mean,
Full head of hair.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah, and my mum's not gone bald yet either.
Oh, some women do, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, I
But,
shouldn't have
but,
laughed really.
no, we shouldn't. But what were we talking about then? Because I got completely off track.
Can't remember. Oh, doing something on solstice.
So I'm thinking about doing something on Solstice and pulling the crowd together because basically, there's a lot of people out there who they got no one to talk to. They,
Mm,
the stuff that we talk about, they talk to their family and they think they're nutters, because they're in the Matrix. Most people,
yeah,
you can't really openly talk about this stuff, but it is a breath of fresh air when you have a meetup. You chill out with your friends, and everyone is like, all friends, like we are,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah, yeah. It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. Everyone hugging, and then we just hang out, and then you just do some networking and talking, just being together, and it's so much good for the people, therapeutic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna
Bringing
get
people
get get
together.
some get some pull something together like that, sort of midsummer. A solstice would be fantastic, along those lines. So I'm thinking on doing that.
Well, keep me in the loop on that because I'll
I will.
definitely come along.
Yeah, that
Um,
would be fantastic. Yeah.
I did a talk in Bournemouth a few weeks ago,
I
and
seen Ian.
yeah, yeah, for Flat Earth. What a community!
Oh my God. Did you
Fantastic
meet
group of
Martin
people.
and Julia? Because I heard Martin's voice when I watched the recording. Martin's a grey-haired long guy, and Julia's like a blonde haired. They're about his 60-year-old. She's attractive lady. He's like got a black moustache and long white hair, Martin.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Got it
Yeah.
now.
They go to all of the socials. They come up to Birmingham. I've met them like 10 times. They give me a massive sombrero as a
So
gift.
was that Truth Juice of
Truth
Birmingham?
Juice, yeah,
Yeah,
I've done
yeah.
that about 3, 4 times, but I've done in the old venue. They're in another venue in Bournemouth now. For Ian Leahy last
Yeah,
year.
that was a lovely hotel.
I didn't get the last one was in a beautiful pub, and the rooms upstairs were really lovely.
Mm.
But they were getting arsey, and they sort of stuck all the flat earthers in this one corner of the pub, so the
Oh,
regulars could
right.
have all the space. And
Yeah.
Lee was like, Ian's like, oh no, we're not going to be doing that. And then you
Mm.
got that new place where you went, which is very spacious, isn't it? As
Yeah, it
well.
was lovely. Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
well equipped. The food was great. Hotel was lovely.
yeah.
They
Did
were
you have a
really nice.
burger?
Huh?
Did you have a burger?
I had lasagna.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
I
you.
thought, why not? Why
Mm.
not? But there were people there that had come down from Birmingham,
Oh yeah.
And I
Well,
recognise them.
Martin and Julie, they're from Birmingham.
Does he carry around with him Werther's originals?
Yes, and he gives them to you.
Yeah, yeah, huh?
Yeah, he gives you a Werther's original.
Yeah,
I've had
yeah,
loads of them. Yeah, you got
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's
I've still
Martin.
got some upstairs actually on the fireplace in our bedroom.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to talk about tonight? Then you said you got some really interesting stuff going
Well,
on.
just stuff I've been thinking about.
Mm,
I've been reading or rereading Charles Fort's Book of the Damned,
right.
which is a book which studies sky phenomena like things falling from the sky. Well,
Mm,
this book is an absolute mind blower because it talks about basically, what started me off on this is I started to research the Kentucky meat shower
right. Yeah.
of 1876. You know, it was photographed. There was chunks of meat that fell out
Yeah.
of the sky, but this happened in Germany, Holland as well around the same time. But also black rain. But he's always trying to find a solution for what he thinks this phenomena is. And he suggested the black rain that fell in Newfoundland was from the South Wales coal mines, washed off the slag heaps and whooped up. And he gives similar excuses for fish and stuff like that, and even prostrated that the meat falling was from loads of vultures above. But
Oh my God.
yeah, but he also says there was an intergalactic war and some spaceships have got blown up, and this is the meat falling. This is, he's just really stretching it. But
Mm,
stones, many instances of stones and pumice falling from the sky from maybe a distant volcano. But what I find fascinating is in Germany, it talks about on page 36 in the 1800s. 10 million tons of organic matter fell from the sky.
in million tons.
10 million tons of organic matter, he says. Not only that, he said it rained red like brick dust, he quotes brick dust. He said, but also when the rain washed it, he said it turned into something that looked exactly like human blood, is what he says in
Yeah.
there on page 40. So they're meat that falls from the sky.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if it's meteorites.
Oh, that's good. I like that. You think that's where that came from?
How do we know? There's an instance as well, right? I got in one of my I collect like books from the old days, like X Files and stuff of the unexpected. But the one of them's got an interesting thing in there about instances of people who are playing golf and their golf ball goes missing, and then miraculously it showers loads and loads of golf balls. Okay, there's been
Okay.
instances like it's
Really?
gone and been sucked into a portal, and then they've all come down together. Okay, so there's instances as well that they say raining cats and dogs, don't they? This is a saying.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Go on. That you found out where that comes from, possibly.
So there's a couple of I'm trying to work out like, oh, is there lands above the water above us? Is that there's a
Mm,
Tarian Ocean, then there's lands, is this meat coming in? I'm excluding all what Charles Fort suggests, especially concerning the Kentucky meat shower, because there was just too much meat, man, and it
yeah.
was in big chunks with sinew on the top. I got a picture one, it's in a jar. And it looks very similar to pork or,
Mm,
that sort of meat or human.
human. Yeah.
Right. So I was wondering whether, they were suggesting, things like fish and frogs that fall get
Yeah.
sucked up in, water.
Yeah. The evaporation.
No, the tubes that
Oh,
happen in
sorry.
what are they called? The tubes that happen in water, like vortexes, like
Yeah.
whirlpools, and they suck them up out of the sea or out of the, in twisters and then drop them down later. But there's no actual proof of that. There is so many instances of creatures like frogs, spiders, raining spiders too, massive amounts of spiders. So there's a phenomena of stuff coming from above. So I was trying to think of where this stuff is coming from, is what I
Mm,
was thinking this morning.
yeah.
So I was juggling with my son. He said, I think that this is happening. And I was like, we just worked together on it. It's called the universal tug of war. Now,
Right.
You could think of this in like this is a glitch in the matrix, especially with the golf balls coming down. Yeah, like just showing you what this place is. It goes, a golf ball disappears, they all gather somewhere, and they all return an instant. All of these golf balls, or is it this that there is another realm that is really close by, and it is stealing this realm's energy? Which is why, since the golden age, our vibration in this place has been dropping, and the color of the sun. It is like the biggest robbery that has ever happened. It's the universal tug of war, and it's been going on between this realm and that realm for the longest time. The control over the energy. It's like the great suck off. They suck off all of the energy off of this. Now, I think things like balls and these, these adverse phenomena, things falling from the sky, could suggest that it's coming from another place, another realm. So what would be able to do this energy stealing or this energy harvesting? I think, giving it further thought, is some kind of device that
Right.
would make that happen. And it really does, because even in my brief 50 years that I've been here, Guy, I've seen that from the vibration of the 70s and the 80s, the summer nights, the feeling of being super alive. And I'm not just talking about youth, I'm on about everybody was the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was lit back
Yeah, it
then.
was. Yeah.
And if you walk around city centres, you walk around this place now, everything is really lower vibration. Now,
Yeah.
I get that social engineering, but it's more to it than that. It is
Mm.
more to it. It's the charge of the place is being siphoned fucking off,
Mm.
and the sunlight. I've got someone banging my door.
Have you?
Can I just check this a minute?
Yeah. Yeah, of course you can. And we're back. You're right there.
So some sort of device. I don't think CERN is the culprit or anything like that.
Mm.
Wherever this device is, um, I think that there could be some reality to this siphoning off this eternal, and I think as well. When I pondered this concept, that okay, so they stole this Earth's energy. Okay, that means we could steal it back.
Yes.
How could that be done? Now, if it's not done through a machine, then it must be done through intent and thought, because all is mind in this place. So I was thinking that if I could just set my mind to that concept of we can just siphon that back, could we do that? I was years ago, I used to practice a thing called quantum jumping. Do you know about this?
No.
So there was a guy online called Gold. I think his name was Goldblum. The guy was a genius anyway. He was in his 80s and he managed to become an author, become an artist, and I mean really accomplished, a musician, and all of these skills he acquired from his 60s onwards. And he did it through a practice that he called the dawdle. And what it was you concentrated or you seen in your mind the doppelganger you, the other you in another dimension. So the artist, or we'll go for the author you that sat in these beautiful surroundings with all glass walls looking out into the forest. You can see him there sitting there. That's you, that's the author you. And then you siphon off or a bit of that skill or that energy or that inspiration to be able to do that writing. Okay. And it's the same with the art or any creative quality. He said that he mentally remote viewed himself in another dimension and he borrowed the skills necessary to do these things in this reality. It's called
How is he?
quantum jumping.
How is he doing that? Is he meditating or is he going?
It
to...
was there was a bit, there was a thing called a dawdle, which was a kind of meditation, yes.
Yeah.
Where you go into theta. And when you go into theta, you just what it is would be in between the conscious state and the theta state into sleep realm. It's difficult to be able to navigate in a theta state. I mean, remote view in a theta state because you're already falling asleep. You're already going into sleep, you know. When you lose control over your mental processes, then it goes into sleep modes, and then it's just off to Alice in Wonderland. So, so yeah, if you can catch it just in, the instant when it's just starting the, the theta state, you can put it in. It's a similar concept to what Edgar Casey was practicing. He could literally lay on the chair, put himself into a theta state, close his eyes, and he could just remote view anything. He knew healing. He knew, he talked about ancient Atlantis, as you know, that was his name.
Yes.
But he did, it's fantastic. He done 14,000 readings that can all be viewed today in his museum in Norfolk Beach and Virginia Beach. Never charged 1 pence. Never charged 1 pence. And not only that, he'd know what the injury. He would be able to have the skill to just read that person's entire field by a glimpse and know what was wrong with that person and give him the right, but he knew the score in this place that
Yeah.
if they believe that it's making them better, it will make them better because
Yes.
the power of the mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they say that with antibiotics, don't they? And a lot of medicines, that 60% of the outcome is determined by you. So if you think, even if it's placebos are a good example, aren't they? But they say that if they give you a tablet in the doctor's surgery and say this will make you better, that 60% of the effectiveness of that particular drug comes from your own mind believing that it's actually going to work. And if you're given it and you think, well, this stuff's shit, it never does anything for me. It won't. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit. No, I haven't heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit that was the case.
I've sort of often wondered if you were today, you went to the doctors and you were diagnosed with terminal cancer, and there was no treatment available, nothing. That's it. They can just give you pain relief. I wonder how much longer you would live for if you didn't go to the doctors and never found out.
No, it's a brilliant question. And I talked about this only yesterday in the back garden with my friends because one of them had basically been diagnosed. And I talked about a friend of mine, Steve, that got diagnosed with terminal cancer. And they said they only give him X amount of time to live. And he went, yeah, whatever, fuck that. And he hit the RSO and, BACAB and other things, alternatives. And he got well. He got really well. And I literally had a lift home from Bournemouth with him last summer. He's an old friend from school. But he had the know-how to, because no is never no in this realm. That's one thing I have learned in this time is no never means no. Okay. Now, I do believe that if you didn't hear those words from a doctor, you would know better. You just carry on forever. I tell you what I know. It's about survival, and it's not survival of the fittest or the most intelligent, because I have witnessed stinking freaking druggies in this place live to a ripe old age and treated themselves like shit, but they knew about how to survive. You with me? Yeah. So it's not really survival of the fittest. It's not survival of the most intelligent either, because then drug addicts are not intelligent, but they certainly survive. It's about the survival of this, of keeping the mind.
Yeah.
It's what keeps you alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When your mind goes.
Where the mind goes, the energy flows. So, yeah, if you went to a doctor and they say, because the first thing they try and do is, I think you should need an examination, a full fitness test. And then they're looking for something. And then they tell you that. You leave there completely destroyed. Your vibration that needed to be up anyway. Yeah. And, that's going to just drop your immune system right there, that news anyway, Yeah, I think that should be revised. I think they should just butt the fuck out of our business, and I think they should let us do us. Is what I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right. I still don't get it, Seek. I don't get why people go into hospitals and they have these people. You've got to sign yourself out, like you're a prisoner, and you can't just get up and walk out. And they can do absolutely anything with you, even if it hurts like hell. They're still going to do it. Oh, it'll only hurt for a moment. Just play that back. You're going to lay there and let these give you agonizing fucking pain because you trust them. Okay. No, man, I'm not in that. I just don't think that anybody should play God on other people. I think the power of the mind. And if you've got a positive attitude, like that shit ain't going to happen to me, because it won't. It won't. I know it's like loads of times I do a lot of dangerous shit, right? Yeah, I've always done dangerous shit. I was in the Navy, I can't even swim that well, but I didn't plan to fucking fall in, Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I've managed to overcome in this place, I'm an off that, but I am dyslexic. Okay, I've struggled like fuck in this place, but worked through it, to try and make it better. Um, for my growth, my personal growth, which is coming
Yeah,
along. In the last year or so, it's come along brilliantly. My God, I've changed so much. I can't even look at the old me. I'm so wound up with ego. I'm bugged about everything. I'm angry. I'm fucking bitter about the state. I'm bitter about the NHS. I'm bitter, because of what they've done to me in my life. When really, yeah, I should have just let it be, because this universe, yeah, it's everything is accountable. And one thing that I've learned in my life is, above all, be kind. Yeah, if you're unkind, and even in thought, yeah, I found myself doing it this morning. Right. I literally had an inner voice and said, Martin, stop fucking judging. I was being Mr. fucking judgy, and I did it again with the druggie. And no, I got to stop doing that, because it's not about me. It's about they're on their own journey. It's nothing whatsoever to do with me. Yeah. If they
mm,
cross my line and they come at me, that's a different thing. But if they're on their own journey, they should be left alone to do it, even if it's really horrible and annoying.
yeah.
There's
We
still
don't know the
lessons.
backstory, do we? I
Yeah.
mean, it's we were walking around Exeter today, and
Yeah.
there was a group of people there that life had been unkind to. And my wife works with vulnerable kids, so she sees what happens to these children that don't have an upbringing, they don't have a family life. They're beaten, sold, prostituted, um, out there, trafficking, whatever the parents decide to do, or new step parents, boyfriends, girlfriends, and so on. And
Yeah,
there were
man.
some people sort of commenting on this group of youngsters that were drinking, and one of them was being sick, and they were saying about how disgusting it was. We shouldn't have to look at that. And I just thought, you don't have any control over the family and the circumstances you're born into. And in another life, you could have been born Prince William. You could have been born Winston Churchill. We have no say or control over that, and you don't know.
You're onto something there.
And
I
I
think
just think,
definitely.
that it's like that saying that, unless you've walked a mile in that person's shoes, you shouldn't really judge them. You don't know them. But, there are people out there that we find annoying and irritating, and people that do things that we can't quite understand. But fuck me, I've done things that I can't understand.
Same. I was a complete madman. But concerning the abused people, what if it was the case that they were abusers in a previous life, and this is just a karmic cycle of,
Karmic retribution kind of thing. Yeah.
there's like, I think everything's accountable. I really do. I do think there is some sort of judgment in this place. I don't know what's doing it, because there is a universal balance, and it is based on our morals, and we're given our moral fibers when we're born. We come into this place, and all of the bullshit that happens is given to us by them.
Mm,
Essentially, when we're young, we're just innocent, fucking loving creatures, loving the place, animals. Yay, fucking great.
yeah.
But they
Yeah.
take that away. I think that the education system, when they grab us away from our parents at a really early age, when our brains are still developing, when we need that nurturing and stuff, yeah, parents, and they drag us away. Now, I think that we are psychic up until a certain point, because I remember the threshold. I mentioned this before at 6 year old, and that it disappeared overnight,
Yeah.
and I went into a grieving process. Now, I think that it was the school that did it, and they did it through showing me pictures of a cat, CAT, a tree, TREE, and just this is a whole paradigm of brainwashing. It really is. They're giving names and pictures to things so that we associate. Well, we call it a fucking tree. Is it a tree? We don't know what it is. The
No.
thing's absolutely freaky. No one knows what the fuck they are, except they are us. They look
Yeah.
exactly like us. It could be our nervous system, or the alveoli of our lungs, or the synapses of our brain. This could be any one of those things. That's how similar we are to a tree.
Mm,
We don't know what they are. We don't know anything, but they always sidetrack us with these bullshit narratives. The language.
yeah. The
Yeah,
language is a trap.
the language is a trap. I don't think we probably needed language. Where the age of Tataria, I think everybody was just communicating with limited words. You probably could
Yeah.
use words, but there was no need for it. You know, that experiment I did in Glastonbury when I went there recently of just first I was breaking pattern. So telling myself a new realm where all of what will happen will come out of this. Okay. So that's why another thing that I've done as well, guys. I noticed that anybody, you know, every time I want to do things in my life and people say, well, that's a bit dodgy, isn't it? It's always other people's fears that they put on you. They fucking
Yeah,
try and curse your ass.
yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
no, that's about you. I have said it like a dozen times to people. It's like, no, that won't happen. You know,
Mm.
or what if this had happened? It's like, well, it won't happen because I've already seen it in my mind and it's not going to happen. I can tell you that for nothing. You know, because I know I can trust my mind that if I visualize it, this is what's going to happen, and it's worked this long in life. You know, so yeah, they definitely hijack the human consciousness or whatever this awareness is with just distractions and nothing, you know, of what we're really supposed to be doing. Yeah. You know, I'm not a, you know, not a free loving hippie that's saying that we all should be just fucking holding hands. Yeah. I'm not saying that at all. Right. I'm saying that we should all be just doing our own business. Yeah.
Yeah,
In the community, doing that lovely thing every day with everyone else, but just doing us. Yeah. And they won't let us. They won't let us just live our lives. You
but they
know?
don't want you. They don't want you to be happy, and you know,
Wow.
divide and conquer is what they're all about. If they can make us hate each other and put us into little groups,
Wow.
then we'll attack each other.
Go into any British city, you can see this in action every single day of the week. Groups are hating on one another, all
Yeah,
organized by the government.
absolutely. And they can't see it, can they? My Facebook. I mean, I've got rid of them now, but my Facebook feed used to contain friends of mine from back in the day that would constantly put pictures up of dinghies coming ashore and send them
Mm.
back, punch the dinghy and all this. I think, Jesus Christ, is it?
Well, that's about them though, isn't it? And
It
and,
is
and
about them.
and that little thing that they do there, right? It's got a consequence in this place.
Mm,
Because as I said, you know, I'm not in it. I'm not even going to think about it because it's not about me.
mm,
Okay. Like I said, unless we come to the case where there's Arab knives at the foot of the fucking bed, I ain't going to worry about it. Okay.
mm. Yeah,
Which ain't. Because as far as I can see, it's the opposite. They seem to be really embarrassed and doing their own thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just another example, isn't it? The more we put it on the news, the more we talk about it, the more it becomes a problem that doesn't affect us. And then, you hear all this shit about they get a house straight away and we have to wait so long.
Oh,
And I
whatever.
think, yeah, okay.
Wah, wah. They're all doing that.
Yeah,
The thing
gimme, gimme,
is
gimme.
like I could never get my head around racism. I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. It's like, hang on a minute. It's like it wouldn't even be a thing if you hadn't said that word.
Exactly. And when did it start? I remember a few years back, I was looking at, I was doing my family tree and I was looking at early censuses, and I picked this census from, I don't know, sort of like Victorian era. I don't know what the year was. They didn't make a note of the ethnicity or race of anybody. They just took name, address, occupation, age. And then suddenly in the, I don't know when it was, but it was, in the 20th
Maybe the
century.
80s.
Yeah, it was quite late. And we started asking people what color they were. And I thought, when did that become a thing? Because it wasn't. Why do we need to know that now? You just reminded me of
Well,
something.
another thing as well, death certificates.
Mm,
Why do they need to write what the person dies of? Like if it's negative, like they literally on my wife's death certificate, they said liver disease from alcoholism. It's like,
thanks
what
for that.
why did they do that?
Mm,
You know, they just like, couldn't she just died?
yeah. I mean, in the end, we all die from heart failure. So just put heart failure
Hmm,
because that's it, isn't it?
hmm.
Ultimately, that is the
Yeah,
cause of
the
death.
old pump like packs up. You only get a certain amount of beats, don't you? And
I think that too. I
Hmm.
do think that. And
Well, they say this, right? They say 800,000 beats per lifetime, and all mammals have the same. A shrew, for example, will have a smaller heart, so its 800,000 will go at a quicker rate,
mm,
which is why it'll die quicker. And dogs, they get 16 years if they're lucky, 15 years because their heart rate. So they reckon all mammals have 800,000. That's what I've heard. happy per
And
lifetime.
it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
almost a
wonder
million. Yeah.
what did that? Who decided that?
I don't know. I heard it many years ago before the internet, actually.
I like that.
My mother was so on it, days, when I was a kid, like she was like, oh, they're so brainwashed, aren't they? And, she knew all about, I don't know, she knew so much about brainwashing and, government stuff. She was like, she said to me, like about 16, 17, I was, she said, space. Oh, there ain't nothing happening. There's no rockets going up there, man. I was like, what do you mean? She said, there's no rockets going up there. You don't think they're doing that, do you? I was like, well, yeah, of course
Uh,
they do. NASA and that. Jim Martin, there's nothing going on. And 17 years of age, I was like, NASA fanboy. I used to pride myself on what I knew about the galaxy. So,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah, she had all these little things. Like now I'm older and I think about it. I was like, Christ, how did she know all that stuff? She
Do
was,
you know how she did?
well, there was no internet. So she must have learned it all before I came around.
Yeah, so someone was telling her. I wonder if that had been
My dad,
passed down.
my dad possibly.
Right.
Yeah, because he was a ship's captain, Estonia. He went through, my father had machine gun holes up his back.
Bloody
Yeah,
hell,
man.
really?
They look like belly buttons. Basically, my father was in the German army in World War II, serving on the Mannerheim front. So him and my uncle decide towards the end of the battle, when there's like a million Russians already dead, and his brother Oscar has been killed. I got literally the death certificate signed by Field Marshal Mannerheim on my wall. Up by there. So he decided to do a runner. He decided to cross the border into Sweden, where he became a Swedish citizen. After the war, okay, because he deserted, the Russians told him that if he didn't come back to Tallinn, Estonia, that they would murder his parents.
Oh, wow.
He didn't go back, and he didn't murder his parents. He did go back when the wall came down, and everyone was still okay, and everyone was still, because he came from like nobility, basically. They were like upper class. So he went back there, but he died in 2012. But yeah, he had dual nationality then later, Estonian, Swedish subject after the wall came down. But yeah, he swum this river under machine gun fire. Okay, and my uncle got a steel plate in his head from where the ricochet did him, and he still swam it, ice cold river. And my father got shot in the back, and he pulled him out. That's
Bloody hell.
what I know, and I think about that when I was growing up, when I knew all of this stuff. I was like, and I got my father's war record. I got it on a PDF, right? I was thinking how unusual, compared to my life, what other young people had to go through 70 years, 80 years ago, compared to what the kids of today on their computers all day, moaning about nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the young men of them days, they're fighting in Spitfires above
Yeah.
it's just craziness. So
It's
different.
another world, isn't it? It's a completely different world.
Yeah.
I come from a sort of same as you, but my generation was as a kid. If you got caught doing something you shouldn't be, the copper would give you a clip round the ear, might give you a slap, you could get punched. You were going to get hit.
Yeah.
They take you home, by your ear or the scruff of your neck, take you home, and then you're in even more trouble when you walk through that door, and
Yeah,
you
man,
go to school the next day and then get caned there.
battered and caned the next day. Exactly.
And it was completely different. And the only person you could go crying to was when you got home, and they were more likely to hit you than anybody else was. So, we had nowhere to turn.
Hit. Do you know what they used to do here? They picked you up off the streets, the coppers, and they take you to the Ely police station. So they put you in a cell, right? And then they wrap you up in the mattress, the thin mattress that was there, and they give you a little kicking, right?
Yeah.
And then the door would open, I'd be panicking because I gotta be home. My mother's gonna fucking kill me. And then he'd come in, he's saying it's 10 to 11, you better hurry, otherwise you're gonna get in trouble. They'd let you out.
Yeah.
So you can get home in time, so you don't get in trouble.
I knew this lad that he was into all sorts when I was growing up. I must have been about 18, and he would have been in his early 20s, and he had a reputation. And he'd been inside a couple of times. And And what the police would do, because they could never catch him for anything in particular, they'd wait till he came out of the pub on a Friday night, stuff him in the back of the van, take him to a cell, give him a good kicking, and then dump him back at home.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the weekly routine. I sort of digressed a bit. You said something earlier on about 7 years old is a kind of crucial time
Threshold.
for a threshold for stopping seeing things or dreaming or
Seeing
imagining.
things, yeah. No, seeing things.
Seeing things, yeah. And I've wondered for a while, is that something to do with our exposure to fluoride in water and other products that we ingest and digest? So could it be that our body's only capable of doing that, or our pineal gland can only be subjected to a certain level of fluoride until it calcifies, and that is the age that it seems to be? Because I read somewhere that by 9 years old, most children have a calcified pineal gland in Western society. I wondered if that could be connected. Mass indoctrination, fluoride, all the other
I'm just
toxins.
thinking about our diet back then, you know, that orange squash and all of these different foods.
Fiora.
Fiora. I'm not sure. Cardiff's an unfluoridated city.
Is it really?
Hmm.
How so?
I don't know. There's a couple of cities in Britain. I think Newcastle's one, I think, or Gateshead.
There's certain parts of London that they don't have fluoride, and it tends to be like,
But I don't know if it was there when I was a kid. You know,
I
remember when they came and stripped the lead paint off the house, said it was dangerous, and they were literally using paint heat guns with all the fumes, and then you're scraping it off. I was like, even a little kid, I was like, huh?
I worked when I was at art college. I worked in the summer holidays in a paint factory, industrial paint factory, and one summer my job was to peel the labels off paint, and it was the asbestos warning label. I had to sit there and peel all the labels off all these tins of paint on a pallet. And I said to like the manager in the warehouse, so where are these going? Woolworths.
No. Say no more.
Yeah.
I did some work in up the valleys in a battery factory, and honest to God, it was like a horror movie. I couldn't even believe that people were treated like that in the 20th century.
Really?
No, man. It was just acid everywhere. As soon as I walked through the door, he was eating my lungs. Right? I couldn't believe it. I thought, you're not working in this environment. Oh my God, I got to get out of here now. They were in there all day, and it was like the factory in naked lunch. I mean, it was a nightmare. They were coming, they had all like black eyes, black teeth, and they were just gone.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. They were just fucked by this factory, and they were willing to go through it as well. I was like, whoa, I spent like an hour in there. I had to do some trunking on some pipes, and I was like, I'm out of there. The fumes were just, I couldn't even breathe.
Shit. Yeah. Is it still there?
I don't know. They were doing batteries, making batteries. The batteries, yeah.
I wonder if there's some of the people that were in there when you went in are still around.
Nah, man, they were like zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Bloody hell.
Well, they used to treat people like it. Look at what they used to do to the coal miners, man. You know?
Yeah.
They used to come out with their half dead. They've done it 14 hours a day. They come out all caked in it, you know?
Yeah. I grew up in my teenage years, from 12 years old, I lived in a colliery, just at the top of a hill from a colliery. So yeah, some of my friends' older brothers worked down there, and then one day they all shut and everyone went on strike, and a couple of my mates' dads still carried on working, but one of them was health and safety and the other one was fire. So they didn't get any grief. They had to keep working because people were still working in the mines. You know, they were calling them scabs, and everyone was getting a lot of shit for it. But at the end of the day, these two were responsible for people. They said, look, it doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. I've got to do my job. If people are going in the mines, I'm health and safety, or I'm fire. I'm going to try and protect them, whether I agree with what they're doing or not. So they didn't get any grief, but it came into school. I mean, my early teens, I was in the northeast of England, just south of Sunderland, Newcastle, Sunderland, in a place called Easington Colliery. And, it was tough there. And some kids got some shit at school, and it went on for bloody years. I don't remember it ever not being, during my secondary school. they were striking all the time. It was horrific. And kids going to school where the dad hadn't worked for sort of over 2 or 3 years. They had nothing, no money.
Well, I have my feelings on this actually. I've had arguments and got angry with someone who was bragging to me about what he was attacking scabs, right? I was like, hang on a minute though. Yeah, so you've been told what to do. You're happy to just strike for no money, and they want to feed their families and do themselves. Because in my mind, them people, they're doing them. And
Yeah, and
be
Scargill
bullied
was doing
into
him.
pressure, and they're always I'm not, and it's always these these bully union members, how they operate.
Yeah, that was my argument. Was that just does remind me, Margaret Thatcher. She obviously prime minister at the time. She came up to
Yeah,
Easington Colliery, and my friend who I went to school with, my mate in my class, egged her and got her clean shot.
yeah.
But my argument was that you're being told to go on strike without pay by a man who's pulling up in a chauffeur-driven Jag,
Mm.
who's worth
That's
an
obs-
absolute fortune.
exactly.
Scargill was still
Oh,
wealthy. Still the money was still coming in. He had nothing to worry about there. And he's
well,
telling
he's not
you
popular in
to
Wales,
not
is
earn.
Scargill.
Not surprised.
Nah, man.
And people didn't see it, did they? They were just indoctrinated again.
Well, there's still no reparations, from the National Court
Mm,
Board about what happened with, I hate saying these words, Aberfan, you know. Um, it's got to be the biggest tragedy in British history, outside
yeah.
of Hillsborough and stuff. I included them in my second book. I talked about that these things always fall on basically satanic calendar dates, like Hillsborough did, and Aberfan did, all on there, where it seems that they require sacrifices.
Yeah, well, that was the same with like if people think obviously that Jesus was born. A lot of people, sorry, I shouldn't say people, but a lot of people will believe Jesus was born on the 25th of December, but he was actually born on the 11th of
April,
September,
September.
9/11. Everything they do is specific, and I think you've got this mass event happening in New York on 9/11 just happens to coincidentally be the same date Jesus was born, the same date as the emergency services, and they love these numbers. We know they love these numbers, but
Hmm.
dates, they love their dates too. And I think it was someone like Biggie Smalls was killed on the same date as the start of World War I, and it's everywhere, isn't it? You can just
Gotcha.
follow it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know about that one. I got to think about the similarities between the assassination of JFK and assassination of Abraham Lincoln. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally a mirror version. Booth done the assassination in a theater and escapes to a warehouse. In the case of JFK, he's shot from a warehouse and the guy escapes to a theater, which is where they arrested him.
Mm-hmm.
Oswald. It's exact, opposites. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like either this is a glitch in the matrix or this is all just a narrative,
Yeah,
which it obviously is.
yeah,
For these dates like that one, that date, it's just what are the chances that, it's just. I tell you another thing as well, the full moons now as well. That definitely
yeah. So we got four
alters.
days worth of it.
Yeah, and it's in Scorpio, I think it
Mm.
is, isn't it? Um, I think that alters people's behavior. Yeah, the
Oh,
hospitals
absolutely.
will tell
Well,
you that,
Luna from Lunatic, isn't
lunatic.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. I was saying to you earlier on, my wife works with vulnerable kids, and they're forever being taken up the hospital for various things, and the nurses are always saying, to, "Oh God, until it's a full moon again."
Yeah. My mother,
So
sorry,
I
go
was
on.
just going to say, so that does beg the question: if the moon can affect our moods, what the fuck is it?
I don't know. My mother was wise. She said to me, she said, if you're out, never talk to the moonies or have anything to do with cults. She said, anyone who reads the Holy Bible ends up nuts. And she said, never stare at the moon.
Right,
That's
never stare at the moon.
what she told me. I'm not really abided by that, actually. I've been a moon photographer, I've been a flat earther. So there's that. Or am. So, yeah, it's definitely alter. It's Well, I think it's, it's an electromagnetic, it's some sort of plasma effect, isn't it? Or if it's even there, because it's probably just in our minds anyway. Um,
Do you think, because a lot of people think it's a hologram?
the whole thing, it could be a technology, couldn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't even know what if we could be just waking up every day to a completely new realm. We're just kidding ourselves. I noticed that when I get up in the morning, I got to do a download of who I am. I'm like literally, who am I? Oh yeah, Martin. What? This is what I do. Oh shit, I got to do all this. I look in the mirror. It's like, okay, yeah, okay. I got literally fucking find out who I am again. It's like every morning. It's like it's we don't know. I heard somebody done a concept the other day, which I thought was interesting. Guy, it was he said that the whole place resets every time we blink.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, every time we blink. He said if you don't blink, yeah, you stay in that same realm until you blink, and then it changes. There's a subtle change because it'll be a new because you blinked. Yeah. I was
I've
like,
not heard that.
no, no, I only used it this week or last week. I was
I've
like,
always associated it to deja vu. That deja vu where you think you've been
yeah,
here before.
I
It's
had it loads in
just
America,
flip for a
loads,
sec.
all the time. Shit, I had it literally a dozen times, and I haven't had it since I've been back.
So something going on there. There's a lot going on over there, though, isn't there? I think it's way older than Egypt.
The energy there is crazy. I was watching
Mm.
a little live feed this morning where they were on about this new fissure or rift that's appeared apparently in Texas that goes all the way to Pennsylvania. Some people are saying it's something to do with like coal seams and stuff because the Pennsylvania coal seam goes under the Atlantic Ocean and comes up in South Wales. It's the same coal in South Wales as it is in Pennsylvania. Okay. But yeah, these so they reckon that there's newer fissures that they have basically registered. There was a tremor, an earthquake in Pennsylvania yesterday.
Yeah. Right.
And now they're saying people are saying it's a Mandela effect because now they're
Yeah.
saying, oh right, there's a fault line under New York City. In fact, there's a couple. Okay, and people are like, so what are we geoactive? Because we didn't really know that. That's not really been in the paradigm. San Francisco, yeah, but us. So they're like on the East Coast, they're like, what? So some people are thinking it's a Mandela effect that they're just introducing these new fault lines to the
Mm.
American map. But this is all tied in closely, I think, with the New Madrid fault line.
I was going to mention the New Madrid fault line because I wrote about that in my first book. That
I
fascinates me.
Yeah, it is very fascinating. Isn't it? Have you read that? Did you read the book on it? Some of
No, no.
the
Oh, sorry. What? But no, I wrote about it in my book.
I got a one book from when was that? Probably 1909. So I don't know when it was written, but it's an early book. He literally there's letters in there as well, like explain like that there was what sounded like a barrage of guns
Mm.
and beforehand and the same narrative for before San Francisco earthquake, it sounded like explosions, it sounded like bangs. You always get this sort of and something else I figured as well, which was really weird, is the lightning. So it starts from the ground. Okay, well,
Yes.
yes, it doesn't actually start in the clouds. It
No.
starts, so
Yeah.
the
It starts in the ground.
electricity that is generated, or that static charge, or the plasma comes from the ground. So
Mm.
it's something that's under the ground that is
Mm.
generating a charge. I'm wondering if it's all the bones from all of the mud. Imagine a mile
Oh.
down of 1 trillion people, all compressed,
Yeah.
huge amounts of electricity is released, all comes up to and then it completes the system then
Yeah.
up to the clouds, back down again. I know what they're saying. They're saying it's a geo, it's in the center of a globe, but it ain't that. So there's something else happening. We don't know what's below us. We
No,
don't.
we don't.
We don't know what's above us. We don't know what this place is.
I was listening to this interview the other day. It was Richard Vobes, and he had a guy on that was talking about what was going on in Egypt and how old Egypt really is and so on. And then he said that the Anunnaki are due to come to return here in 2 years' time, and it will coincide with a pole shift. And they're going on and on and on. And I thought, hold on a minute. For there to be a pole shift, then we're now talking about it being a spinning ball. or at least a bull. So how
No,
can you have a pole
no,
shift?
no, it's not. That's not the case. Okay, so if you imagine we're on an inertia plane, okay, which we are. Okay, the inertia plane has to be. We can't stand directly on an inertia plane, but we got to stand above it. So I think that the inertia plane is 12 kilometers below our feet, because that
Right.
is the depth, the only depth that we've managed to drill in the deep shaft that they dug in Russia. 12 kilometers. That's the definitions of up and down. 12 and 12. Okay. So if you imagine the inertia plane, so you need, okay, a north and south magnet. Now, there's no way that the magnet is reaching all the way from the North Pole all the way around this ball to the South Pole, because that's not fucking
No,
happening, right?
no, exactly.
So we think, right? I think that the four corners that they talk about, the four corners, is the four corners, the continents that are in the center. I know it sounds farcical or fantastical, but I definitely think there's more land happening. I think that they got to keep that down, and that's why they tell people there's a globe, because all of that scarcity model, all of that control, everything that they got us doing, you know, fucking climate change, all of the different concepts that are happening would all fall fucking apart. Yeah, real estate, that's their number one fucking cash cow, gone, because there's more land. So I think that there's definitely they could, because of flight routes are strict, shipping lanes are
Yes.
strict. You can't
Yeah.
go off where you want to. You will get arrested and you will be brought back, which is in a lot of videos on YouTube. They will show you like Handahoy, that Norwegian, arrested. Another YouTuber called Sam Holmes. He was just south of Svalbard, and they arrested him going over an invisible line. They said it was a fishery. It's like and fined him 10,000 krona. It's like,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yeah, so the military are just waiting there. You cannot go where you want. So that adds suspicion to me. Okay. So in the center, the flat earthers, a lot of people, and the Veda says that there's Mount Meru in the center, a magnetic mountain, which is all the compasses are pointing at. Okay, that's the red lines pointing at Mount Meru. It's a giant magnetic feature, maybe even a monolith or a cube. They tell us it's a cube. Okay, and Mount Meru. So Mount Meru North. Now, to complete a magnet, you need the south, don't you? So if you imagine that it's a pyramid for now, okay, yeah, which
Mm.
they show you on Dante's Inferno. They
Yeah.
show you it's a pyramid, and then they show you an inverted pyramid as Dante descends into hell
Yeah.
in Paradise Lost. They show you. So if you imagine the top pyramid is Mount Meru, and it's got a pyramid underneath, which is Mount Meru South. North and South magnets, which would complete the double torus necessary around this plane to generate you would need gravity. Gravity is bullshit anyway, you know that, but the
Yeah.
electron, the thing that holds us to the ground, yeah, there's definitely a push and there's definitely a pull. Well, you do. What you get with a double torus is you get the magnetics going in and coming out simultaneously at the same time. Yeah. And that is why the plane that we stand above is inert. Now, order out of chaos. Yeah. They talk about order out of chaos and they tell
Yes.
you what they say it is. Yeah. But I think I wrote about it being another concept. Now, magnets, yeah, the arrows are aligned. This is why the magnets work. Okay. But they have stated, and not, this is actually in text as well, like Emmanuel Velosovsky have wrote about this as well, where a time of chaos reigned, where the magnet or the inertia plane, yeah, were no longer magnetic, where the elasticity of the two toruses switched, which what they will call a pole shift.
A pole shift. Okay.
They do say they can see this in some stone structures, that there was a geo or electromagnetic shift. They say I can't substantiate that, but they say there is some proof there that there was some sort of pole shift in the past. But they put everything back into the infinite past. No, in my model and in my thinking, I'm thinking, that could be a thing, that Mount Meru North and South would switch magnetics.
Have you heard the same thing? Have you heard this man was pretty adamant that it was going to be 2 years
I didn't
from
watch
now.
that. I watched a little bit of the Beyond the Ice Wall episode. I haven't seen that one. I'll watch it back when I get time. I haven't had time
Is
lately.
this the Nos Confunden? This, yeah, I read the two books. I read the first one, The Navigator Across the Ice Wall,
Good, isn't
and
it?
then there's one by his daughter, the daughter of the navigator that crossed the ice wall.
Right.
That's fascinating. I'll have them somewhere, unless
Oh.
I've lent them to someone. I sometimes lend. My youngest son
What,
likes the
what was
same
her
sort of.
name? Oh,
Oh,
freaking
here
hell,
we
I
are.
know. It's on the tip of my tongue.
What do you remember? That's not that one. That's Marcus Aurelius. We don't want that,
Was
do
it
we?
Blanche? Blanche was her name.
I remember the name of the daughter. That's the first one.
Yeah,
The Navigator. Yeah. So this is the daughter.
yeah. It's got a lot of people thinking.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Have you heard about this moon map?
I've heard about what? Sorry, Martin.
Moon map.
Moon map. Yeah.
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 So
But
what
it's
do you
not
think about
something
that?
It's not something I've looked into, but
No,
I've
I
been
have looked
sent
into
loads of
it.
shit on it.
Yeah. I don't think it's a thing, but that's just me. Let me ask you a question.
Mm,
Do you think, if you don't mind, please, do you think Jesus Christ existed?
yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah. But not that name. But yeah.
I think that there was two. I think there was,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he had a brother.
Oh
And
yeah. It was a twin brother, wasn't it?
yes, like
Yeah.
Elvis Presley had a twin brother which died
Yeah.
at birth. Yeah, this is something going on with twins. I honestly think that all of this happened in possibly the 1400s. I've got a book, The
Yeah. Yeah.
Vengeance of the
Yeah.
Emperor Vespasian, which cites all of this happening. He's venging vengeance for the death of Jesus Christ. Okay. All of this narrative is set in the 1400s, medieval times.
The death of
And
Jesus in the
Vespasian fucking alive and breathing and about in the Holy Roman Empire is up and running. Yeah, something's happened with the calendars. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally.
Totally. Yeah.
We know that we have the Julian calendar and
Gregorian calendar.
Gregorian.
But
Yeah.
that's tied in with the
there's
Bible as well. With
yeah.
the Council of Nicene. It's like they made a grave error with the dating. So the Pope Gregory decides that we'll have to amend that, so we'll just chop off a load of
Chop out Sol. They lost a month, didn't we?
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, I think the year's out. It's all out. Everything's wrong. I mean, this isn't 2025, and we're probably not even in May. They've bastardized the whole thing. The Julian calendar was Julius Caesar, wasn't it? That put that.
Juliana, yeah, but the royal family still on Juliana calendar. That's why the Queen has two birthdays.
Really?
The King, she has one on the
Of
Juliana, one on
course.
Gregorian. Yeah, there was a Welsh tsunami. Interesting. I think this might be a marker. Actually, I was thinking for Noah's flood, but it's too recent, really. So there was a giant tsunami happened here in 1609 in South Wales and in Avon and Somerset, where thousands and thousands of people were killed. The tsunami came in like the speed of a racehorse, so it was like a few meters high, and they say it took a generation to heal the land. Okay, so there's a church on Wentlock Flats near Newport, and it's got a plaque. Only on the plaque, it's got another date because the event happened on the exact time of the calendar change of the Gregorian to Juliana. Now, that didn't actually come into full fruition in the rest of Europe up until later years. Like they would literally, it didn't happen everywhere in the world. So there's different calendars. The Italians are on this calendar. The Flemish, they had something else going on fucking completely over by year. The Flemish know stuff. Their art gives us all the secrets. Their maps give us all the secrets. I'm going to do a post on what the Flemish knew. I'm telling you, they just knew too much. Like the University of Leeds sort of thing.
They studied there. I think in the 1600s, that university, they were doing students were doing thesis on vampires. It was becoming an issue. That was actually something studied at that university seriously.
Yeah, all right, let's talk about vampires, right? I talked about Red Mercury this week. And like it's supposed to, repel garlic and can't be seen in mirrors. So, it could have been that these old mirrors at Tartaria, It's not, you know, if you look into like what they were mining in Tartaria, one of the biggest things that they were mining was silver, and the silver was used for backing mirrors,
Yeah.
right? So they had special like mirrors in them days, you know, and there you see so many of these depictions with him holding these mirrors. I think there's
Mm.
definitely more going on with mirrors anyway. So this silver stuff that they put on there, on the mirrors is, I think there's some sort of technology going on with mirrors. I definitely think they're sinister. Okay, like I literally, I wouldn't have a mirror in the bedroom, for example.
Really?
Nah, I haven't had either. I just, if I go in a hotel or something, there's mirrors. I'm like, oh, God, you know, I just don't like it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's just like, it's not as if like I've had like the mirror do something different to what it's supposed to,
Mm.
but I get the sneaky feeling that it wants to.
Well, that it is a thing, isn't it? I mean, Black Mirror was
I haven't
the
watched any.
well that it's after, you know, Black Mirrors was seen as
Oh,
a sort of a magical,
Skythin mirror, they're called. They've used in Black Magic.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we all got them now.
volcanic glass, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I
yeah,
love the
so the
7 year
Tatarians
thing.
were producing mirrors. Where was I going with this? I can't
I
remember.
don't know, mining. We were talking about mining. They were mining
Silver,
silver
mirrors.
mirrors. Um,
What
no,
was I?
gone. But then a minute ago we were
Right.
talking about meat falling from the sky. So we've you know we've veered off a few times, haven't we? At this point, I don't think it matters what we talk about
Not
because it's
really.
because to me it's all interesting anyway. And even if nobody watches this, I'm enjoying the conversation. So
Well, the British government this week have insanely said they're going to pay 60 million. I don't think that's much anyway to dim the sun, don't they? They're
yeah,
going to, so
yeah,
basically dim the sim.
yeah. We don't believe in chemtrails, do we? It's
No,
condensation,
it's
isn't it? Of course it
condensation.
is. Those
Two,
pretty patterns with no online traceable flight paths existing where they're flying, no flights anywhere on the internet to show me where these planes have come from.
yeah.
But it's definitely condensation. And fuck me, what a coincidence that by 8 o'clock tonight, if we've had the chemtrails going on in the morning, it'll be overcast and then it will rain. I mean, it's just magic, isn't it? Just a
Mhm.
whole series of coincidences.
They're,
I think you can't deny chemtrailing now.
no,
The
not now.
government have just admitted it in a very strange way. They're doing us a favour because they're always doing something to help, aren't they? That's what
Mhm.
these people are really about, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they've got a best interest to heart. There's definitely. I think they do want to save the remainder of, because I'm still in the camp that there's not many soldier. I really don't think there's many soldier.
No.
No. I think there's only. I think like I imagine that like after this level, this level that we're doing, I think that we're in the hard track level. I think we chose hard track. After this, when we get through it, yeah, I think we'll just all be sat around in some chairs and we'll be giggling about what we did, because it'll be like 10 minutes, the 70 years, 8 years that we got here.
Mm.
I've known literally a guy, right? He did a DMT trip, mate, am I right? He wanted to be put back because he said that he was gone an entire lifetime. He'd had children,
Yeah.
jobs, an
Yeah.
entire life. And he's like, and it was all in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard that
Oh, he
before.
comes back. He's like, put me back. I got a life.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard a few
And
people say
people
that.
also popping out of the Matrix. I know a story of a guy, again, tripping, popped out of the Matrix. And what he witnesses is some guys standing around a table and they say to him, oh, you're not supposed to be here. Boof, back. He's in his bed.
I like that. What was I going to
Popping out the
say?
Matrix.
My youngest lad during the first pandemic, the first lockdown.
Lockdown.
Sorry, he buggered off to Portugal, and he thought, "I'm just going to see. They're telling us we can't fly. I'm just going to see what happens." And he'd booked to go on a retreat to meet some shaman. and some other like-minded people for an ayahuasca ceremony
Mm.
because it was a lot cheaper. They were coming over to Portugal because they could do it there, and it was a lot cheaper than going to the Amazon, obviously. So he went off for 4 or 5 days, and he did this ayahuasca ceremony. And after he'd purged, I mean, it was literally sicking up black, and yeah, everyone was shitting themselves. And once you got past that, he said we were all singing. I mean, he went through his experience where he said it was the death of his ego. He was sort of battling.
Yeah, ego death. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had to let go, and then he was picked up by these sort of. He was carried by these little bright yellow, sort of almost like jelly baby type little people, and they carried him around. Then he's got this blue face that he could feel it was feminine but couldn't tell. I told him what to do, and he was just going through the process of starting that right at the beginning of the training to be a pilot in the RAF. Oh. And he come back from the ayahuasca ceremony and said, I'm not in a position to do anything like that. There's no way I can press a button that results in other people dying. It's not right. I don't have the power or authority to do that. And he changed. But the interesting thing was that he said right at the height of it, he was with 11 other people. And one of them was from Romania, one of the people doing this session. They all started at the same time singing a very old Romanian nursery rhyme, all in sync. And I thought, isn't that fantastic? None of them could speak Romanian apart from this one girl, and they're all singing a nursery rhyme together that she knew but didn't know the words. She'd heard it a few times, but she didn't know all the words. They all sang it in harmony together. How is that possible? Isn't that incredible? The connection you have when you can break through what they've done to us.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
This wall that they've put there.
Yeah, when you alter your state of consciousness, you can do that. Just, but I can alter my state of consciousness, not like at a whim, but I can if I, spend mental time doing it. I can do it without any psychedelics. I can release my mind. I seen. Have you heard this? And I do remember doing this. Somebody said on Facebook the other day, after I was talking about mirrors in my recent post, that there's an experiment, and I picked up a video on YouTube. I only watched a bit of it, an Indian boy who had done it, and it freaked him out, staring into the mirror. And he reckons that after 10 minutes or so, his face started to morph. And he said he literally could see all of the people he had been in previous lives.
Oh, wow. I need to try that now.
Said I have seen that though, but to be honest, if you stare at anything long enough, okay, the matrix just becomes a fucking part anyway. Yeah,
I find that with words if I stare at a word for long enough, it stops looking like it's that word. It starts looking like, well, that's not how you spell that. That's not even a word. And it can be something that this came from years ago. I was writing out some stock sheets. So I worked for a car alarm company where the base was San Diego, where you went. Directed Electronics. A lot of people in the UK would know them as Clifford Alarms. So I worked with them for years. Remote Engine Stars and Max Power and all that. And I was producing all these stock sheets, and I was just writing out stock on the top of each sheet. There was about 200 sheets, and after about 5 or 10 sheets, I started thinking, that's not how you spell stock. And the more I wrote it, the less it looked like a word and looked like it just didn't even look like it.
I get you. Yeah, it looked
completely. Do you know what I mean? It's like word blindness or something. It just stopped making any sense. And I wonder if that's a thing. Is that part of it?
Sounds like dyslexia.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't joke, but it's like that.
To be honest, right? I've struggled my entire life. And even school, particularly. And I think that it's because I think I've been dyslexic and not recognizing it. The changing of words is something that I do. My mind does it. Yeah. And I will be convinced that can't be fucking right. Yeah. I don't know. Isn't that weird? But yeah, trying to analyze, when you analyze yourself, like if you're going to be doing that, there's, they give like people like pigeonhole them. They got Asperger's, they got OCD, you know. Now I could say, I like to file stuff, and I have got a lot of OCD attributations, but not compared to other people I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, I think these are just traits. I'm a creative artist. I'm going to be different. I'm going to do different stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I think to be creative to any extent, I don't believe in labeling people. I know
no.
that some people now will want to be diagnosed with autism or Asperger's or ADHD or whatever,
Well,
or as my
yes.
wife calls it, Asperger's.
I
I,
call it Asperger's too. It's true.
I got diagnosed with that when I was 25. But mine was a strange journey because although well, I never used to really give a shit what way I went to work, what clothes I wore on a certain day. I didn't have routine. I mean, I had to be somewhere at a certain time and all
Oh,
that
I'm like
kind of
that.
thing.
Yeah.
But and then at 25 years old, we had our first son, and I'd never been jabbed. My parents hadn't jabbed me, so I go along and to one of the midwife session things, and she says, "Well, you mustn't change his nappy until you have had your polio jab
What?
because polio's transferred through human feces." And I said, right, okay. So I didn't think anything of it. I get my polio jab. And within a few months, I start to feel a bit different. And within a year, I now have to drive to work the exact same way. I can't take a detour. I have to wear certain suits or clothes or whatever. I have to listen to the same channel, have the heater on at the same, climate control on the same level or whatever. I had to do everything exactly the same every single day from that moment on. I have to have routine. So I go to the doctor after about a year and said that I noticed something changed. I now, if someone rings me up and says we were going to meet at 8 o'clock tonight, but now it's going to be 8:30, that would throw me out. And I think, well, that's not what we agreed. It's 8 o'clock. I'm geared for 8 o'clock. And I said, well, what do you think it is? And he goes through my stuff. And he said, well, I'm sorry to say, but it's, in my opinion, it's a side effect from the polio vaccine. It affects, from what I know, at least 500,000 people a year are triggered. So you're carrying some sort of genetics, and it's just that polio jab. So I look into the polio jab and see that seemed to be a side effect from the vaccine for scarlet fever. So it just seems that whenever they've given us something, it's then caused, another problem. They think that we think, sorry, that they're doing us some sort of favor, that they're helping us, but actually, it's causing something else. It just masks one thing and then brings out another.
Well,
But that was it for me. But
wow, mate.
I was just going to say that I think we're all on the spectrum to an extent, but I
Yeah.
think you've got to be on it to be creative. I
Oh,
think we're
100%.
using a certain part of our brain that doesn't normally engage.
Well, I've always been operating on different levels. I noticed that when I was a kid. It's like nobody's really thinking like me. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I had a very vivid imagination. I could write a book
Hmm.
just sitting there in my head. Like in 10 minutes, it's like, this is brilliant novel stuff. Write a brilliant
Mm.
novel in my head. This is the kind of, things that I do. Um, I want to, with my self-growth in this spiritual awakening, that is definitely happening. I feel that I was already smart when I was young. Okay. But in the last year or two, I feel that I've got smarter. I don't know whether it's just I'm more assertive or I'm concentrating more on
Mm.
just being like without ego and just being
Mm.
me. Take me as I come. I don't. I've always been like that, really, on YouTube. And if you meet me in normal life, I'm just the same person as I am now. I'm
Mm.
just not putting any bravado or anything. Um, and I believe in the elasticity of the brain. As you get older,
Yeah,
the brain, they reckon, if you do new things, you create new, synapses.
yeah,
Yeah. So I've been like just doing different stuff as I'm getting older, and just being more creative and trying different things. I got like 10 fucking different projects on the go, all exciting, all groovy, to think about. And I can do it as well. I can, put things, that'll all simmer over there, and I can do this 1 year, and I used to push, with where you know, with the victim mentality is
Yeah.
I should be doing better. Oh, why is it not working out? Oh, what am I doing wrong? Oh, this, oh, that, yeah, especially with YouTube and growth, you know. Right winds you up, you know. I used to think like there was something wrong with me. It was like, oh, fucking no, I'm not popular because I'm Welsh and nobody can understand me, stuff, which is an element of. Um, but then I just let go of it all. I'm not pushing anymore. And I'm not pushing and I'm not resisting. And it's made all the difference in the world, I swear. Because now my mind can concentrate on growth and stuff, which is useful for everybody, rather than just whinging in my mind about what could be or what not could be, which I've been doing in the past, like all of us have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, I've been like, I was a manic depressive, man. My mother couldn't stand the sight of me. She said, oh my God, I was like it for years. Oh my God, I can't even take a look at you. Such a manic depressive. I mean, nothing in this place was making me happy. You know what I mean? I was in a,
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
yeah, I was in a real bad place for a long time and a rut that I never thought I'd get out of, you know. Until YouTube got me out of it. YouTube.
Your own channel got you out of it.
Yeah, man. I reckon it saved my life.
So do you think it became an outlet for you?
Okay,
Somewhere you
it was
could just
therapeutic for me.
Mm.
I found out straight away that the stuff I was thinking, yeah, I wasn't alone with. And I soon
Yeah, it's
found
a
out
nice feeling that.
it was really nice, you know, it was comforting
Mm.
because, you know, people were turning up in my comments, you're not alone, Matt, we're thinking the same. It's like,
Mm.
shit, really? So,
Mm.
like, you know, I would get goose pimples and all of that. And I was really excited that I wasn't alone in this. And then as it started to grow and all of that, like it just, I realized that this thing is much more massive than I could have ever imagined.
Mm.
You know, I had a voice in a voice in my head before I did YouTube, and it said this about flat Earth, right? It said this: "You let this pass you by, and you're going to regret it till the day you die." That was the exact words.
Shit.
And I just went home and I made videos, and
Wow.
I started there, and I was right too. You know, my inner voice told me that I would have watching all of this truth thing unfold without my voice and being part of it. Would have just been destructive to me. I would have been so
Yeah.
happy. But you know, it's I've enjoyed making myself a better person
Mm.
because you got to lead by example. You know,
Yes, you have.
I've got, I guess, like emails in, but people just so tangled up in fear, man. You know, they're getting
Mhm.
ready to go in their fucking bunker, you know, and
Yeah.
all of this fear stuff. And it's just heartbreaking to, you know, to think that, like, you know, they're so wrapped up in the fear about bullshit when these people are probably really comfortable and haven't got everything and don't really need to worry, you know.
Mm.
So I would love to be able to just put people's, you know, hearts and minds at rest and just tell them this, right? That you got to keep the faith. Everything is going to be all right. It always is all right. It's all right for everyone. If you have the mantra of this, everything always works out for me, I can guarantee you it will. This is the secret the billionaires know. This is the secret the fucking people who are fucking successful know, is not to doubt their abilities. Yeah. As soon as that happens, the doubts come in. It falls
Oh,
apart. It
yeah.
falls apart.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you want it to fuck up badly enough, it will. It
And I
really will.
notice it will. And I notice a lot of the time it's always external, meaning other people putting curses on your shit. It's a constant battle of, no, man, I'll do this. I want to fucking do this. You
Mm.
know, prime example is when I joined the Merchant Navy, right? My mother was like, boys from Ely don't go off to sea and fucking around the world, Matt. So don't they, man? So don't they? Fucking 18 fucking years of age on my birthday, I was gone, right? Yeah, I just showed them all. I was fucking gone. Yeah. See you in a year or two. Gone. But like it made me more adamant, you know, that, you know, if you say that I can't do this, I will prove to you all that I will be able to do this and I'll do it better than everybody else as well, which I always
Where did you go in the Merchant Navy?
everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Where was the
Except the Southern
strangest?
Hemisphere. I haven't been in the Southern Hemisphere at all.
Right.
No, not having. Yeah, I was the one ship was on ice class. First one was ex-Polish ocean liner. She was ice class, so she could go up to like 3 inches of ice. Yeah. So we used to find ourselves freezing our ass off. Yeah. I've been to Baltic 1 week, grinding. And then the next week you'd be down in the Mediterranean sunning yourself. It was like, you know. or 21, in the winter. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like it was really dangerous, really fucking dangerous. The guy who lives downstairs, my friend, he's biker, lives downstairs in the flat downstairs. I was at sea with him like 30 years ago.
Were you?
Yeah, we were on the same ship. We lived in the same ship, man, for years.
Bloody hell.
And he's moved downstairs. We talks about all the stuff we used to get up to, man. Fuck.
What's the strangest thing you saw out at sea?
Out at sea.
Hmm.
Well, I've never seen a whale.
Haven't you?
No. No, it was always dolphins for porpoises. The
Hmm.
strangest thing at sea, I reckon they told me once to go in the toilet, pull the flush, and turn the light off. So I went in the toilet and I pulled the flush, and all of a sudden a big light came out of the toilet, like that, out of the toilet, all like luminous greens and blues.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Turn the light on, it was gone. Put the light off, it's like, what? So I go, oh, what was that? Said it's bioluminescence for going through, like, you could see it over the side. So they told me to pull the flush because it was operating off seawater.
Yeah.
And then we flushed it through. And if you turn the light off, you can see it, it like glows.
Oh wow.
Bioluminescence. So that was pretty weird to see. But I've seen 1,000 weird things, man. 1,000 weird happenings. So I nearly died a lot of times. Yeah, I had a fire on there and I saved everybody's life that time. But other times, like when I hit off the main engines in a storm and it nearly seized up and we all nearly died, that time I never saved everyone. So lots of things happened that were really dangerous. Everyone got killed, but lots of things happened where I saved everybody too. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's that. So it was a good balance, but it's a dangerous thing to do, especially when you're me as well, and abroad as well. Can you imagine a Welshman from Cardiff and different destinations? I thought I ruled the fucking world. I would march around everywhere. I'm British. You've had it now, British. We're taking over. This is our shit. You know that now, don't you? Use all our bitches. I'm British. Because
Yeah.
in them days, you had this thing. Because in school, we were taught, we had a big map on the wall. And the teacher used to get me standing by the map with a stick. And he would ask me a destination. And so I could instantly point it out on the map, showing off my geography prowess, in front of the school, the class. But he would say this as well. He'd say, all the time he'd say this, see all these pink bits here, he'd say, yeah, Canada, Australia, and he's pointing at, that's all British. Go like that. Totally brainwashed of the British Empire as a kid,
Yeah.
by teachers, So when the time you grow up, you're literally in the mindset of like, well, I'm fucking British, and that means
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah. Where
Yeah.
actually, if you went to one of these countries and told them that you were British, they would say, well, congratulations, you're part of a generation of people that came over, sorry, a civilization of people that came over here and stole something that didn't belong to them, robbed the place of everything that was of value, destroyed its history, and enslaved its people. And
But we're the best
thank
at
you.
it.
I know it's disgusting.
Look, all
isn't it?
of these business models, communism, Nazis, all of this concentration camps, that was ours. We invented them, probably even before the Boer War, but we did invent them there. So there, but yeah, like all of these things, like the whole legal system for the world, based in the American legal system, the Australian court system, is all based just copying. Everything is copies on the British because we've been doing it longer. Yeah. So everything just seems to have worked here, so they copy it here. But Britain seems to have lost that, its greatness. But I
Oh
really,
yeah.
And it's not going to be that ever again. So
No, it's gone.
Yeah, it has been heartbreaking to think, right? But I think that on the flip side, this could happen. Okay, just a silver line in mind of this terrible situation. It's going to get warmer, right? But Spain and Portugal, they're going to get cooler. So all of the in this warming things, so all of the holiday makers will come to British seaside resorts. We're all empty at the moment. They're empty for a reason because they're going to tat them up and they're going to make them posh for holiday makers from all over the world to come to the south coast of Britain on our beautiful Riviera beaches and then earn a squillion because Britain will be like the new Mediterranean in maybe a few years. How about that?
Yeah.
It's what you
So
think it is.
yeah. So what makes you think it's going to get cooler in Spain and Portugal?
Because I'm thinking it will.
Right. Right. Okay. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're thinking it as well. So that's two.
Yeah. Yeah. There's two of us.
That's
We can
enough.
manifest this shit, can't we? We can.
I was wondering, I've had like a couple of like today, for example, a bit of a few lessons about human compassion. And I was Mr. Judgy this morning, and I had a voice in my head saying, "Martin, stop being so fucking judgy." Because you gotta can't just you got practice you got to practice what you preach, man. And if I'm telling people to be compassionate to other human beings and just be love, and then thinking in my mind, "You smelly fucker,"
Mm,
that's not good. Even though they were
mm.
okay and trash.
Yeah.
But that is not my journey or my responsibility. And oh my God, that I can make a judgment on this other person's life. I don't know where they've been or what's happened to them.
Mm.
You know, they could be living in absolute misery. And then there's me just making it all fucking worse by, vibing them out in my head. No,
I think that that's the case. That so many
I got to
people.
sort that.
I was speaking to someone the other day actually. That was I was chatting to someone. I did a podcast with them, and we were talking about Charles Loring Brace, and he was the man behind the orphan train movement. And I said that, he was a Freemason, he was a member of the Odd Fellows. There's some dodgy, but he's got a dodgy, very shady past. And what happened to a lot of the children was pretty horrific. And someone had attacked this woman for repeating what I'd said on one of her shows out in America. And I said to her, she said, look, she screenshot it all saying, look, this is the feedback I'm getting. This bloke's really gunning for me that's saying that this was an upstanding person, virtuous and doing God's work. And I said, look, you're not going to get anywhere with this. There are two
No,
problems here.
no, you're not.
One, he's the wrong person to be engaging with because he's brainwashed. And two, why are you wasting your time arguing with someone? Because what I realised, and I think we all get there at some point, that is the amount of people that will put silly comments or rude comments on a post. It could be on Facebook or on YouTube. That we put this video out there, and someone will say something. They either think they're being funny or clever. And it's not that they might think me and you are talking nonsense, right? It's them. It's a reflection of them. If you're prepared to put a rude comment or ridicule someone online, when you could actually decide not to watch it, turn it off if you don't agree and say it's not for me. What that bit that makes you watch it to the end and then spend even more time invested in trying to make you look better than you are or more intelligent than you are. So I used to sort of look at these comments and think, right, I'm going to think of something witty to reply to it. Then I moved into a phase of thinking, ignore it. Then it was delete it and block them. And now I'm very tempted to just put, I'm so sorry to hear that you feel this way.
Brilliant. I
Clearly,
understand.
yeah, and you have a different point of view, or I'm sorry that you're in a position where you feel the need to write something like this.
Yeah.
I hope things will work out for you, and perhaps tomorrow will be a better day, because
Nailed
it's
it.
a reflection of you. It's not about us. It's them. They feel bad. Life's been crap. They've
Yeah.
been thrown a few too many curved balls, or maybe they're in a position where they're not able to go up to somebody and say, you look like a prick, or I don't agree with you, or because they're unheard. They weren't listened to at school.
Yes.
And the social media's given people a platform, and we've got these keyboard warriors that in a million years, if me and you were at an event, wouldn't come up to us and say the sort of things that they would be prepared to comment on a video. No, but this has given them some sort of platform, and I think that it just shows you what a sort of low, crappy place these people are in to do that. You've got to be in a pretty shit place to even invest your time. I would if I put something on YouTube. We don't watch TV, but I put YouTube on and there's something I think, oh, I don't really like that. I won't then watch it till the end or stop what I'm doing
And comment.
Yeah, I just
saying that
turn
was
it
shit.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I enjoy it, I'll give it a thumbs up and I'll subscribe. But
Yeah, I never ever done that.
if I don't, like, and that's the amount of stuff I get sent and the amount of things I'm tagged in, and I scroll down and you know what it's like. You're in the same place, aren't you? You know, I'm sure you get bombarded with the stuff, and I don't say that's a load of bollocks,
Oh.
or what did you tag me in that for? Or that's legit. I think no, it's not for me. I
Yeah,
won't like
I,
that.
I'm not in it anymore. I'm just getting beyond the point of that. I've been in YouTube 10 years and it's
Mm,
changed beyond belief. I go on YouTube now, except for like a couple in this sort of genre. There's nothing to watch. I can't find anything at all.
mm,
Stop. So I don't. I research, I write, and just do content. Because I actually love it. It's so fulfilling to my soul. Hit or miss. If it's a good video,
yeah,
brilliant. If it's not, it's just okay because I'm
yeah,
doing it for me. And if everyone's here in the community and they're all, gathering together and it's all on a positive, which it always is, yeah, then that is a good thing. But I had that predicament this morning with a Saki comment saying, not understanding the context and coming at me about I was showing a picture of JFK's assassination, explaining that I was in Dealey Plaza, and obviously that there is the case that it may not have happened, but this guy, he's coming from the standpoint of he knows the answer when nobody knows the answer, and he's
oh, he was
saying,
there, was he? He was in the
no,
car.
yeah, he was there, yeah, of course
Yeah,
he was, yeah,
obviously.
well, exactly my point. So he came at me saying, "Oh, guy," he said, "I always thought you really smart," he said, "but I'm gobsmacked of how stupid you are thinking that he was killed." Yeah, it's like, hang on, I didn't actually state that. I was just explaining I've
Mm,
been in Dealey Plaza. It could be the case that, he wasn't there and all of this is just a narrative and he never had his brains blown out. Yeah. But the way he came at me, so I thought about just like, that was his first comment and he's just attacking. Yeah. So I sit there and I thought about, is this going to benefit the community? Is this going to benefit me? No, blocked.
yeah.
Right. I will. Some of them, I just like you said, I want to do a sarcastic comment back, but I swear I've learned now. With narcissistic people who are brainwashed, like you just said, that you're not going to spin them around. They're going to be stuck in that paradigm until the day they fucking die. Let them to it. I don't give them my energy because I don't really
That's it.
simple. Where energy goes, your
Yeah,
attention flows. I won't do it
yeah,
because I'm
it's not
doing me.
worth it.
Yeah, and I know I can, if people just, when people suck, yeah, I'm the type of person that they would just like empty my battery. It's like
Mm,
if I have like an annoying relative or something, say for example, they'll just leave me empty, and then they'll go, and I gotta go and have a lay down. I'm literally just dead to the world from somebody just talking, yeah, because it just sucks the energy out of you, energy
hmm.
vampires. And that's happened 1,000 times in this place, but I don't do that anymore. Now, for the last few years, if somebody's standing there and they're talking utter shit to me, yeah, I will just turn around. I won't even talk. I'm going to explain to them why, and I'm not being rude, and I'm not being disrespectful, and I'm not being unloving, but I'm going to turn around and I'm going to walk the fuck away. Now, if you
Yeah.
come after me and pulling my arm and then start forcing me to listen to you, that'd be a different thing altogether. But I'm just going to turn around, I'm going to walk away. And that's what I do.
Mm,
I
mm,
walk the fuck away and go and do me and stay in
yeah.
my good. I won't have people hashing my mellow. I won't. People try it all the time with me. They're just really annoyed that I'm not biting.
Yeah.
Try it all the time. They try to like, they don't like it. They don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, why are you in the right? Why have you got the right to keep an upper vibration and be higher, be happy? Well,
Mm,
because I've made the choice. I have been unhappy. I've had 40 years, 30 years of exceptionally, well, all my childhood and all of it, right up until recent years of unhappiness. But now I've got love in my life. I've managed to sort my life out, make some sort of relative success in the world, on YouTube or whatever. Um, but there is some growth to do, I find. But you know what you said about the polio thing?
yeah.
I often wonder what we would truly be without all of them that we've had. Because literally, they made us have me have a sugar chunk in
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Polio. I got taken out of the classroom, put in a line in my underpants to have an injection in my arm.
They used to like us doing stuff in our underpants,
It's like
especially if you
everyone
forgot your
undress,
PE kit.
little boys and girls, everyone undress,
Mm,
right? Stand in a line. Sorry, I always wondered about that. Like now I'm
mm,
grown up, bit weird, isn't it? It's like, so they took us out of class, no note off the mother, anything. So that happened as well.
mm.
Okay, so it's forced. And I've got a big one there, a big scar there, and a big scar there. I don't even know what from. But I did get the Daisy for the BCG.
BCG, yeah.
They said I was immune to TB and I wouldn't need it. So I didn't have the BCG. I was looking into basically because I was looking into this community in Estonia from the same area as my father's family came from. And they said that nobody ever suffered the effects of the Black Death in the plague in Europe in this community. Okay.
That's interesting.
And there was a study done on this community of Vikings, and they found that they all had chromosome 13. Right. So,
Right.
yeah. So they also did the same test for this chromosome 13 in I'm not sure if it was Whitby, but it was up in the North Coast where the Vikings had landed, like Lindisfarne, that area.
Yeah.
And they'd literally descendants of these Estonian Vikings, and they also had no effects of the Black Death in that community in the parish records. And they also had chromosome 13. Right. So I was wondering whether or not, because I'm Estonian, half Estonian, yeah, if I had any chromosome 13, because
Yeah.
there's so many things that I just seem to be the fuck immune with. Yeah. But I think it is all about the vibration, you know. I noticed that if I do suffer anything, that it's environmental shock. So I mean allergies from dust or animal
Yeah.
or what have you. That's what
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all get that, don't we?
Yeah.
But I bought a little like vaporizing fan that's putting like mist into the air, which is soaking up the dust, and I found it instantly. So there's a cure, there's a thing for everything, but how much of it is mind? You know?
Did you get hay fever at all?
No,
No.
nah, I've never had it.
Mm.
Oh, I don't know. I get travel sick.
Do you?
Yeah, in a car.
So I found that people that take CBD oil or smoke cannabis don't seem to get hay fever because you're
Burning them. Yeah.
yeah, you're taking pollen in constantly, absorbing pollen and plant like
Well,
through the CBD and the cannabis. You know
let me just talk about that for a second because I was watching a video. I did watch one. I watched these walkabouts in Manchester. They're quite alarming, actually. A guy called Billy Moore. But he's really anti-cannabis, he's anti all drugs. I get that hard drugs 100% stink, but he's anti-cannabis as well. I was like, well, hang on a minute, though.
it's not a drug.
No, the way I see things, and I'm like, I'm over 40 years in with this now, right? Is that these are tools. These are technologies, sacred technologies for humanity, for unlocking parts of our consciousness, for growth in this place. This is why they're there. Why have we got fucking receptors in our mind for cannabinoids if not to use it? So, and other
There's an opiate
substances.
receptor as well, isn't there? I
Oh
think.
yeah, of course
Mm.
there is. Yeah. So yeah, exactly that. So there's a reason for that. But
Mm.
these plants are there for a reason, and tobacco,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, is sacred.
Yes, me
They've been
too.
taking this for spiritual purposes. I've had rapé. I had it in Houston, and unbelievable. I had it off Max Egan. He had a little tub of it from Mexico. It's only tobacco. Life changing.
Really?
If you have enough of it, it's highly psychedelic. I mean, life changing. Me, Cheryl had it. I know other people say, but I tell you what, oof, within a split second, punched you out of consciousness. Yeah, you were in a place of utter calm, and everything just melted away. You never had a care in the fucking world. It felt absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. I couldn't even believe that was tobacco. Right. So, I've been smoking it like 40 years, never even stopped or anything. But there's the fact that we get well, I guess in mushrooms, if you like, but fungus in our lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in our throats as well. And this burns it out. There's also iodine in tobacco. If you there's a film called Damnation Alley, and it's just like the nuclear war has happened, and the only thing that stops them getting radiation poisoning is the cigarettes.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the only thing that stopped people becoming seriously ill with the pandemic was people that smoked.
And have you ever seen the film Cabin in the Woods?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
The only one that doesn't get killed that can see it all is the ganja smoker.
I'm going to have to rewatch that now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's something in it, you know. I was thinking that around that time, you know, was it something to do with that, you know? But I don't know what's permissible to say, but the Frankenweed that is all over British cities, including my city, I don't think it's safe. I've been having it for like, and it gives me like in the first one in the morning, I got like terrible heartburn, cramps in my stomach, and feels like shit. High as a motherfucker, but I mean, it's not, there's something wrong with it. It's not like.
So we're talking synthetics here.
Well, it's all like lab stuff. It's Frankenweed that's all around now. This medical grade cannabis that's all over British cities. You don't find anything, you know, rubbish anymore. It's all really high quality. I mean 30% plus now on the streets of Britain. So yeah, I've just been seeking an alternative because I think it's it's suspect, isn't it? It's given to the masses. You know, we don't know what it's doing. It's not like the stuff I had 20 years ago. Nowhere near. Something else going on with it. So yeah, I think Frankenweed is something going on with that. You know, don't know exactly what. There's something going on with it.
Bloody hell. So do you think it's been put out there to specifically? Yeah. Yeah.
It's just got stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And they just don't care no more and more. And they just let it just carry on. Yeah, it's like I know, you know, after I have been there this long, that there's something up with it. I just instinctively know there is.
It's interesting now that people their go-to saying is how strong is it? You know, don't seem that bothered about how it makes you feel, or you know, is it nice to smoke? Is it, you know, how strong is it? How strong is it? Well, and that's the only important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't really work like that because, you know, some of these, like the Africa weeds, for example, they may only be 17, 20% THC, but it's their full body. They're grown outdoors. Yeah. So they got like, you know, especially with the with the curing, you get these chemical changes happening. But it's for like CBD, and it's a full on package, full spectrum of it. And that stuff is highly narcotic. You know, it'll like numb your body, it'll give you red eyes and make you feel fucking, you know, mellow yellow. The stuff in Britain that they're all having is chemically. It makes you high as fuck. Feel it behind the eyes, and it doesn't matter what brand it is. It could be biscotti, it could be fucking Star Dog, it could be Amni. It doesn't matter what species it is. They all taste different, but they all have the same effect. Yeah. So high. That's not my memory of what weed was. I mean, my memory was a narcoleptic body effect, where your body went numb and you felt really relaxed.
Yeah,
you could go to sleep.
Yeah,
not that. This stuff's not like.
No, I don't. I used to smoke it a bit, and what I found was a couple of years ago when I stopped. I stopped because I was becoming paranoid. So not all the time, but I wasn't getting that sort of relaxed. Right now, what I did was, because I was a tattooist for years, I would do it when I drew. So someone would say, you know,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and what I needed to do was blank out the mortgage, blank out me son's just written a car off, blank out this, blank out that, the credit card bill, everything else. I've got to design a leg piece for someone that's coming in tomorrow. I have to do that. I need everything to shut off. I just need my creative part. I suppose, like gamers, I need to be able to focus on this, get this done, and use that part of my brain that isn't normally functioning. And sort of, it's something changed. And instead of getting that, I started to just get paranoid instead. I could still draw. Yeah. I could draw anyway, but I wasn't getting the same effect from it. I was just starting to think, shit, what if I can't draw this?
Fear thoughts.
Yeah.
Negativity.
Yeah, and it changed. It never used to do that.
Mhm.
And someone said, "Well, that's because you're smoking it too much." I thought, what, a joint in the evening on a draw, that is not
Oh, I don't think so.
excessive. So I didn't think it was that. Well, I'm sorry, Martin. I just realised we've been chatting away for a couple of hours now,
I
and
know, I know. I need to
yeah.
go to the toilet myself.
Well, my wife, she's off to Canada, so we're off to Heathrow tomorrow morning.
Okay,
So
fair enough. It's quite a drive. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, not going to
Oh,
see her
we'll
for a
hook up
couple of
again,
weeks.
innit? And have a little chat.
Yeah, it'd
You
be
have to come over
lovely.
to my channel. Maybe we'll do it live. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to
That'd
do
be good.
that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Get a big crowd in and have a chat.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, if you're not doing anything next week, I'm home alone for a week. So there
Oh
you go.
yeah. All right then.
Hey, you're more than welcome down here.
Oh, I got
Come
too much
down.
on, brother. I had my friend asked me to go down, stay in Torquay, like literally today. It's got place there, but I can't do anything right now.
Next time you are going to Torquay, you drive literally within about 4 miles of my house.
Go down there
on
quite
the way
regularly.
there.
Yeah,
You must say, because literally I'm not far from the M5 at Exeter.
serious.
Yeah.
It's next town down, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So I'm just in the sticks. But yeah, you're more than welcome here anytime.
All right. Well, I guess that'll happen anyway soon enough.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
It was really nice chatting with
Yeah,
you.
it was
I had
good
no
fun, wasn't
idea
it?
we've been chatting for a couple of hours now.
It always does
I've
that. I
enjoyed
know.
it.
I know. It just
Yeah,
goes
but
to
thank
time.
you. I
No,
really
you're welcome.
appreciate it.
Okay.
And yeah, let's do it again soon.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks for tuning in, and thanks again, Martin.
Wiggly finger.